All right, guys, and we're live. Welcome, Matt, to the channel. How are you doing today?
Not too shabby. Yourself?
Not too shabby. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Really excited to have you on. So listen, I want to get to the start. I want to start right from the beginning. You start off as an electrical engineer in Silicon Valley. How the hell did you end up getting into SEO? How did that happen?
I would say like an angel came down and saved my life. I went through the whole gambit of exactly what I thought everyone else that I went to school with and everyone who grew up around me should do to make a living. So I got good grades in high school, went to university, got a bachelor's degree, then got a master's degree, was in the workforce, started climbing up the ladder as an electrical engineer. Why did I pick electrical engineering? Well, I started with computer science. I hated programming. And then I just thought I like hardware more than software. So maybe it'll be more interesting to actually be able to see what I'm working on. Anyways, it wasn't more interesting. It was vastly boring as well. But the good part about engineering is you do start off with the high salary. So right out of college, I was making like $70K a year. And then not too long from then I was making $120K. But what I was finding is as I worked my way up the ladder, I just didn't ever have time for enjoying any of it. So more responsibilities, more pay, more responsibilities, to the point I was working 60-hour weeks. And there was never, I remember distinctly never having a feeling once in the whole course of a year that I'm getting towards the end of my work. It was always just an impossible amount of work all the time.
Right.
And so I was just looking at my situation and just saying, there's no way I can continue this. I'm looking at the people that are ahead of me in the corporate structure, and they don't look any happier. They look way more miserable than I was, and I was on the verge of depression. So I just started thinking about what other alternatives are there in life to making money? And I remember going to lunch one time on my lunch break, watching the Subway sandwich guy making me a sandwich, and I was just like, dude, I bet this guy's happier than me. It's not all about the money. It's about just maybe not being stressed or maybe just finding something fulfilling. Anyways, one of my buddies gave me the 4-hour work week. And then that turned me on to this idea of making money on your own terms, having freedom of time and location. So that at that point, it was that or nothing. My brain was poisoned. I had to figure out how to make it work, even though it did seem impossible and no one around me was doing anything like that. So I decided to meet people that were around me that doing stuff like this. And I went to a meetup.com meetup where people were studying and following the 4-hour work week. And just happens to be at that particular amount of time, this particular group was doing something called the 30-day challenge, which was a way to make money through affiliate marketing with SEO. It's like, oh, okay, this sounds interesting. I tried it out. I loved it right away and stuck to it ever since. And it just hit all the buttons for me.
Damn.
Affiliate marketing, passive income, makes money when you sleep. You can do it from anywhere. And so I just fell in love with it. And the gamer part of me too, just loved Google. Loved how there's this leaderboard called google.com. And when you're at the top of it, you make money while you sleep. It was that was a match made in heaven.
Yeah. So are you a big gamer?
Yeah, but not anymore, man.
Not anymore.
I try to load up games and just I play games all day long, except these games make me money.
Yeah.
Build teams and accomplish things in the real world.
True. So what was your first success in the SEO space that you consider a success?
Yeah, I guess so the first website I tried making with that course, the 30-day challenge, was a website on yoga and travel. And then I learned the hard way that niche selection is really important. It's not just about choosing what you think is what you find passion about. It's about things need to be monetizable. So after that, I was like, okay, well, what else do I know? I know back pain from sitting in an office chair 60 hours a week. So let's get into ergonomic chairs. So ergonomic chairs is lucrative. It helps people solve a major problem, which is pain. And so I created a website reviewing ergonomic chairs. That got to making $3K a month. And then at that point in time, I had a mentor that was getting me through this getting me up this learning curve of SEO and affiliate marketing. He said, man, when you find a niche, you blanket page one. So then I started making a second ergonomic share site, third, fourth. And at one point in time, I was just like, you couldn't search anything without me being the first to fourth results.
Damn. And what was the strategy like for ranking sites back then? Also, what year was this?
2009, but it probably was like 2010 or 2011 when I finally got success. You got to get your fails out of the way.
Right. And what was your strategy back then for ranking these sites?
So for on-site SEO, you write a piece of content, like 300 to 500 words is enough. You put the keyword in the title, and then like the first sentence. We didn't know anything about like TF-IDF or surfer type algorithms or anything like that. You just put your dribble in your keywords. And then for offsite SEO, we started with easing articles, which was a directory. You submit a piece of content, you get a link in that content to whatever you want. Eventually that stopped working. Then I got into PBNs. PBNs was a game changer. And then eventually getting to like software for non-PBN links. PBNs are expensive to build. So we were using software like SE Nuke for like non-important anchor text and stuff like that.
Damn. Yeah, you are the main reason that I started with PBNs. That's how I started building a little PBN and started ranking websites. And it was because of, I think, probably a blog post that you wrote at some point in time. So yeah, thanks for that. So actually, I do want to talk about the PBN space a little bit more because you ended up starting to sell links, right? Starting to sell PBN links. How did that come about?
Yeah. So like back in the day, everyone was hanging out on Alex Becker's forum called SourceWave. Like that's where all the gray hats were hanging out and stuff. I mean, we always had like Warrior Forum and Blackout World, but the real juice, at least the community aspect that resonated with me, was on Becker's forum. And so I was contributing there. I was talking about like some of the stuff I was doing, some of the stuff I was testing, because as an engineer, I could look at this Google black box as something that's testable, single variable testing and stuff like that. I would share stuff on the forum, that share stuff about what I was learning with Amazon affiliates and stuff like that. And then I would also be open that, I had a 200 site PBN and, share like what I was learning about that. And then someone on the forum, one of my good friends today, his name is Jason, he reached out and he's like, hey, you have 200 PBNs, I'm sure you're using a lot of them, but you're probably just using one link on each PBN to go to one of your sites. Why not rent some of these out? Why not sell links on them? So I thought, you're right. It is a wasted asset. I don't want to be building PBNs anymore because, again, I didn't want to trade time for money. But I'd consider taking on the marketing aspect of it. So we started a partnership and started a company called diggitylinks. And
I don't know if you can answer this question, but how big did the amount of PBNs get? Like, is it in the tens of thousands?
Or is Not tens of thousands.
All right.
About 5,000.
5,000, which is still madness, which is still absolutely just insane. And what made you go from the affiliate space, the PBN space, and then into an agency? How did that come about?
Right. So, my job is to sell these PBN links, and my friend his job is to build it. So I'm thinking like, how do I get eyeballs on this stuff? Like, well, what do people normally do? They build a website, they have a blog, they get eyeballs on the site, and then people will see through adjacency that, there's other things this site does, this blog does. It sells backlinks, it sells this, and that. So I started blogging and, again, sharing like what I was previously only sharing in forums, but sharing it on my website. So single variable test results, case studies. And the approach that I was using is, back then, like a lot of the SEO knowledge was complete guessio. Like a lot of the gurus would say stuff that made sense, but like, is that really how Google algorithm works? So I would use my engineering background to test that, figure out, does linking to your social fortress do anything? Do social signals do anything? Does this do anything? Does that do anything? And I'd share the results. And then eyeballs did start coming to the blog, and eventually, the PBN business grew, but then eventually people started asking for more stuff. They wanted SEO coaching. They wanted SEO done for you services. They wanted a course. A conference was born of that. So a lot came back down to this decision I wouldn't even say my intention was ever to start a personal brand or anything like that. It was just out of necessity to start a service and to market a service. But that decision, it was the birth and the ability not only to found those businesses and have them be successful, but any new business I start off, because I've built that brand, because I built that list and that trust, I start businesses off on year 3 now instead of year 1. And I'm super grateful for my buddy for prompting me into doing that, and just like everyone for listening to me geek out about this SEO stuff. I'm super happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, you're killing it, man. You're absolutely killing it. So what does your average day look like? You're obviously involved in an insane amount of projects. What are you mostly focused on now?
Yeah. So, I mean, most of the time, so I have a big teams at each company, but I try not to have any more than 3 to 5 direct reports. So most of my days are filled with meetings, just enabling my direct reports to carry out what they need to do, team level meetings and stuff like that. So I'd say probably 60% of everything I'm doing is meetings. And the other 40% is split between continuously SEO testing again. So like the leverage I get on figuring things out with the Google algorithm doesn't just help my affiliate agency. It helps my client-based agency. It gives me content to put on the YouTube channel. It gives me content to update the course with. Like it's just doing that one task. It benefits every single business and makes sure they can compete going forward. And then besides testing, I would say making content. Like the big bottleneck right now is I shouldn't call it a bottleneck, but it is a time sink. YouTube's a time sink, as you know, especially if you're doing your own scripting. So like that is it's unsolvable to me right now. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. I have a bunch of questions about your YouTube, but I do want to dive a little bit deeper into your SEO. So what does your SEO look like today, and how has it changed, or has it even changed from a couple of years ago?
Man, it just changes. Like I would say, like every 2 years, something big changes, like something big. So in terms of on-site SEO, it's the biggest paradigms right now that we're focused on is topical authority. So being able to research and figure out what is every single article that needs to be written on a given topic in order to be considered an authority on that topic. So once you figure out everything you need to write, it's about writing each thing very well. And so I firmly believe in highly SEO optimized article. I don't believe in this concept of quality content. I don't believe that even writing for the reader is what you should focus on. You're writing for search engines. Google can't read. So this boils down to doing research on your competition, figuring out how long they wrote their articles, figuring out the search intent, figuring out how to create your article structure, your H2s and your H3s based on a superset of what the competition's done, and then optimizing that article with the tool like Surfer to get the correct amount of entities in the right frequencies in the right places and stuff like that. So that, I mean, of course, there's a lot more to on-site SEO, the technical aspects, the interlinking, stuff like that, but that's in a nutshell. And then heavy backlinking. I've always been a firm believer in backlinking. I like to break things up into 2 buckets. I like relevant, unimportant, high authority links. And then I like high relevance and high volume, like lower authority links. So those come from like guest posts and link insertions and stuff like that. Not just rinse and repeat. I mean, SEO is content and links, and then the rest of it's just refining what you know and making sure you're on top of the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah. Has the amount of links that you're getting to your websites increased, decreased over time, or stayed around the same?
It's increased. Well, that's a hard one. So like, I would love to say it's increased all the time, but the ability to get good links these days is kind of diminishing. So it's kind of like leveling each other out. But I mean, we're just seeing time and time again that Google is completely rewarding links links is like a proxy for all these things that they say they can do, like EAT. Links is the number one determiner. I'd say it's 80% of the equation on determining EAT. And product reviews update. So, product reviews update just came out in April. And if you look at the winners and the losers, like ironically, the biggest winners in this last update was Parasite SEO. So you have like your Riverfront Times, your Observer, and all these websites that have zero product review update criteria covered. They're not allowed to have images showing usage with the product because you're not allowed to post a lot of images when you do a parasite post. You're not allowed to link to multiple locations. You only get a few links. So like all these different things in the product review guidelines, they're the biggest failures possible at them, but they have tons of links. So take it for what you will. Like link building is the proxy for a lot of what Google says that they can do.
Yeah, they just can't get rid of it. It's too important. Yeah. And what do you think are some unconventional on-page SEO techniques that you've tested that show some promising results?
Yeah, this is a good one. So, I mean, it's a hard one to answer because I don't know what your audience thinks is conventional or not. But let's see. So through testing recently, one thing that we discovered is, you know, in your menu nav bar, let's say, for example, I have a website that's reviewing like fitness products and stuff like that. So maybe I have a category on protein powder. So whereas we might have a menu item that says like protein powder and go to the like best protein powder review page. Now we're starting to put exact match anchors in there. So best protein powder, best flavored protein powder, best protein powder for men. My initial assumption is that might be too spammy because you're essentially getting a link from every page on your website through the navigation bar to this page. But we single variable tested this and it was a significant boost. And so, so we deployed that site wide. Like this happens a lot too. Sometimes we do tests and it disproves something that we thought might have been a true thing. For example, information gain. There's this theory that and understandably, there's tons of patents that say, talk about this thing called information gain. So like if there's an article that exists on best protein powder, and this article contains content that the other articles don't, that should be a ranking boost because it's gone above and beyond and has information. So we did a pretty wide range single variable test on this and does absolutely nothing. And it makes sense. It makes sense because like, how does Google know? Like, okay, let's say my protein powder article has 25 new facts, right? New facts about whatever. How does it know these new facts are true or not? It can only know that if it compares against the top articles already and sees that there's a consensus already. But because they're new and they don't exist in the other ones, it has no way to figure out if this just has nothing to do with protein powder. Maybe it's about content candy, right? So you have to think of Google as an algorithm that with limited resources and everything that they do and everything that you're assuming that they can check on is expensive to them.
Yeah.
So that's one way to kind of throttle back this whole idea of like, that sounds like a good idea. Let's just deploy this. Let's add it to our SOP because adding something to your SOP carries ripples through productivity. Like you add an unnecessary step to your process and you're going to be doing that for years and it's going to cost you money and time. Brilliant.
Yeah. And could you share maybe a case study or two of an underutilized SEO strategy that made a significant impact on a website's performance? That one you just shared there was pretty sweet, but if you have anything else.
Underused might not be the right word because maybe everyone's using it, but AI content. So we got a website right now, 100% AI content. It's just hit 90 something traffic per month, 20K per month in less than 12 months. It's just like this, it just works. It's a cheat code. Like to be able, right now, like my publishing speed is limited by how fast my designers can upload, not how fast my writers can write now. And just when you're churning out content at that speed and it's good and it's SEO optimized and you're blanketing topical maps, you're just stamping out topical maps, protein powder done in 3 weeks. Let's move on to pre-workouts. Let's move on to energy drinks. Like Google just sees this website's just a machine. We have to pay attention to it. We have to reward it.
How do you do EEAT or how do you do EAT for these websites? And also, kind of side question, what's your take on EEAT or
EEAT? How you sort of verbalize that first of all? Like the or double E?
Yeah, it's just, they're not helping us. Yeah.
They're not making it sexy. Not like SEO was ever sexy in the first place. But EAT is, like I said before, 80 to 90% completely determined by links. So what links are probably making the biggest impact is probably high authority links, your DR 80 plus like seed sites and stuff in that realm. But what's the rest of the 20% of EAT? I would say You just need to make an effort, right? There's certain things that Google can easily check for in an inexpensive way. A crawler can come to your site and check for the presence of a contact page. It can scan your about page for email addresses. It can scan your about page to see if there's real humans on there and stuff like that. You can check for schema to see if you have person schema, location schema, and stuff like that. So like at the bare minimum, take an afternoon and just fill this stuff out and just be done with it. Then you can focus the rest on your link building, which is going to build the rest of your EAT.
And what about some SEO myths? Can we talk about some of those that you think are still prevalent in the industry?
Oh man, where do I start?
I mean, just pick it. Two of the big ones.
EAT is probably the biggest.
Nice.
Like I mentioned before, information gain. There's not too many people that are hung up on that. PBNs don't work. There's. I mean, one of the biggest myths. So who can really call this a myth, or is it just like a cultural phenomenon? But like this whole concept of black hat versus white hat in SEO. Like, first off, there's no war. It's just the white hats that are like hung up about the black hats that are getting results and cheating the system and making bad business decisions. The black hats don't give a crap about the white hats. They're just going about their business, making their choices based on their own risk tolerance, not ethical decisions and stuff like that. So I think like you're spending time on Twitter arguing about like link building tactics. You're not focusing on your business and you're wasting time.
Yep. I like that. And let's say someone's brand new to SEO. How would you recommend them to get started on link building?
Probably Haro. So Haro, like I said, I break things up into two buckets, like high authority, low relevance, and then high relevance, high volume. So like your Haro bucket, your high authority is going to be covered by your Haro bucket, and that's free. You're just trading time for backlinks. And then if you start doing outreach, like guest post outreach, link insertion outreach, I mean, it's a grind, and most of the time you'll end up having to pay for links anyways, but you'll see the process and you'll see what it's like from a webmaster getting these outreach emails. You have to go through the process once before you start scaling it or even start purchasing links, I would recommend.
Yeah, Haro's still working, still works really well. Let's say it's day zero of a brand new website. What are those three main things you're doing at the start?
I'm launching the website with at least 20 pages of content, all in one silo. So like going back to the fitness website before, I wouldn't have 5 articles on protein powder, 3 articles on squats, and 4 articles on this. Like they would all be in one category. So the whole idea is to give Google no doubt in their mind what your website is about. So when you start and you're all about protein powder, every single page is about protein powder. Google sees, okay, this is a website that's specializing in protein powder. I know what topic it's about. Now, whether or not these articles are written well, that's up for me to decide later. But at least I can see what this website is relevant to. And then when you start building links and they're coming from content about protein powder, that further cements that in. See, the problem at the beginning of the website is Google doesn't know what you're about, and they have to try to figure that out. When you make life easy for them, they reward you. Again, always coming back to thinking about how can we make this thing cheaper and easier for the search engine. So then I'm launching with all in one category. And then the first links I'm going to build are going to be the links that I recommend any normal businesses build. And normal businesses do build these types of links, even if they're not SEO professionals. And that's starting with, your social fortress, building a Facebook page, building a Twitter account, building a YouTube channel and Instagram, all these kind of normal guys, Reddit account, all these normal guys, and linking them up. You can use the schema same as syntax to link them all together from your website to show we're not only this website, we're this social media presence, we're that social media presence, etc. Business directory citations. So like just free links that you get on Yellow Pages, Yelp, any industry specific directory citations, like just getting a 20 pack, a 30 pack, something like this. And just going to set a bedrock of natural links that are the first ones that come to your site that kind of just signal this website isn't up to any funny business. It's doing what every normal business does. Don't put it on a crap list.
Okay, sick. And what about when people say that those initial citations, because everybody has access to them, they don't have any real value?
Yeah, they're not going to get you ranked higher. they're mostly no follow too.
Right.
It's just paving the way for the next kind of links you build, and just
signals,
showing,
right? Yeah.
creating a story. The story is the first links this website weren't gigantic monster links that could have been paid. The first links were very natural in our case.
Cool. All right, let's switch it over to YouTube. So first of all, congrats on the 100K. That's absolutely mad. Have you gotten your play button yet?
Yeah, dude. Hold on.
You got it.
Any excuse to show this off. Yep.
Holy fucking hell. Yeah, it's amazing. Hello?
Hey, bro. I'm so excited to show that thing off.
What happened?
It just knocked out the power.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, here it is.
All right, there. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
I don't know what it was about getting this damn thing that was probably half of the impromptu and the half of the drive for me to get to 100K subs. As soon as I found out, wait, there's an achievement that you can get. There's like a gaming achievement. It's like an award. Yeah, I'm getting that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's also just so insane because SEO is so niche, but still, I mean, it's a possibility, right? You can get to 100K. Are you thinking of going for 1 million? Is that a goal that you have right now?
I don't think that I could physically get to 1 million talking about this. First off, I'd be shocked that there's 1 million people that want to subscribe to an SEO channel, but also just I would burn out by then for sure. I'm already starting to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about your YouTube process. So first thing is the thumbnails, because your thumbnails are phenomenal. Especially there is the ChatGPT one where you have the tombstone. Nah, that was insane. What's your process for that?
For the thumbs? I'm just I'm designing it's actually title first. So the title kind of defines the video first. And, I pay attention a lot to what people say, like YouTubers say about writing good titles and thumbs.
Nice.
One of my good friends is Nick Nimmin. He's got the biggest YouTube channel on the planet in terms of YouTube help. And Roberto Blake, I did a consultation with him. He's a good buddy of mine now. And like they said, don't go for keyword optimized titles. Don't go for SEO case study, blah, blah, blah. It's got to be something that's shocking, something that invokes people to want to click it, for example. Something that doesn't tell what you're going to find in the video until you watch the video itself. So one that I did recently is I built a website with 100% AI content. Here's what happened. So you don't know whether that website was a success or not. And the thumbnail's got to match that. And I think it was a thumbnail that said pass or fail, and me with a confused face. It just elicits a click, rather than I could say I achieved this, or I got 90,000 visitors per month using only AI. You know the answer to that and how that story is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it does. It's an art, and you kind of learn it over time. But it's I never go for keyword volume. I never go for YouTube search volume title optimization anymore. It's all for the recommendation engine.
And do you feel pressure to constantly one-up yourself in every video, especially with how YouTube is, right? In the YouTube app, the Studio app, they'll tell you, oh, it's a 3 out of 10. It's a 4 out of 10. So you have to constantly keep coming up with just crazier and crazier ideas.
I guess so, but I don't know. So once I got to 100K subs, I kind of relaxed on myself a little bit.
Yeah.
I also know that the only way for me to be doing this sustainably is to have fun doing it. And if I'm beating myself up over different things, that's going to be a quick road to quitting. Right. So I really don't care anymore. Right now, as long as the video gets over 10,000 views, but I'm not going to beat myself up if I get lower than that. And I consistently do. Whenever I talk about not SEO, it's guaranteed I'm going to get 110K. But I have to do that in order to switch things up for myself and entertain myself.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I noticed about your channel is that you do switch it up, right? I'm horrified of switching it up just because I know it's gonna tank the views, right? It's an interesting balance. And what about running out of topics? There's only so much SEO you can talk about.
Yeah. Not right now, though. I mean,
now's a good time.
Not right now. So one issue that I have with my process, and I don't know your process, but let me know like what you think about this, is I film one video a week, but I don't like this feeling of like getting down to the gun and like, oh shit, we got to like finish the script and get this thing filmed and it comes out tomorrow and like we need to hurry, to the point where I have 4 months of videos queued ahead of time. So
really?
the issue, yeah. So like whenever I have free time or I see myself like I'm going traveling for a month, I'll just grind and do like 6 of them. And so the problem with that is just I have a long feedback loop. If I make a video today and it doesn't get published to August, like I don't know if the changes I made and the new things I'm learning are good until August, right? So there's a big feedback loop. And then also like, what if something new comes out today? What if ChatGPT now can integrate on like every website or something like that? Like I'll be slow to do that because I'm already got like other videos in the works. But I don't know another way to do it. And do you wait till the gun? Like do you produce one like right to the minute?
Yeah, unfortunately, with my schedule and with the way I'm organizing myself, I record on Sunday and I post on Monday. And the main reason for that is I want to be able to talk about whatever's current, right?
Yeah,
but then I have interviews like this where I can schedule it like maybe a week or 2 weeks in advance, and this helps a lot because obviously that pressure of the night before is just horrible. It's just horrible.
Yeah. It is nice sprinkling in some interviews because these are easy. Like you make questions and then you depend on the other guy for the content.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and what about
that?
Sorry,
I was just gonna say I like what you're doing because in a time like right now where if you just focus on AI, like you're gonna grow right now. Yeah. And so like this AI news is coming out every single week. I'm sure you can talk about AI every week if you wanted to.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot of channels that just talk about like AI SEO hacks, and they've been blown up. So yeah. Man. And what about YouTube Shorts? Is that something that you're thinking about?
Yeah. So one of my friends is Stan Leloup. He's like, I would say, one of the strongest marketers in France and a genius YouTuber. And so he's been playing around with shorts. He made a short channel, got to 100K subs in like 2 months or something like that. It's insane. But he's saying, and other feedback, what people I talked to about shorts is like, if they're not native, then they really don't do as well. So like it needs to be made for YouTube Shorts. It needs to be front to back, like crafted for YouTube Shorts. Repurposing and like taking this interview, I'm sure you'll get 1,000 views, 10,000 views if you're lucky, but it won't blow up. So for me, like I've tried with repurposing. I've tried a lot and they do okay, but they're not a big deal. It's the native ones that I've made that do well, but I just don't have time for it. And
so as in making a video specifically for YouTube Short.
Yeah. They need to be scripted differently. They need to, the finishing of the video needs to leap into the start of the video, stuff like that. People talk different too. They got this like YouTube Short voice. It's like a TikTok voice. I can't get myself to talk like that. I just throw up in my mouth. Yeah.
Cool. I do want to talk a little bit about the Chiangmai Conference. So I went in 2019 and it was incredible. By far best SEO event. Honestly, probably best event I've gone to just because it's just so high impact. It's just, you just meet all the right people. All the talks are crazy. And I'm not just saying it because you're here. I mean it. Like I tell everybody about it. So what was the goal behind the conference? Because I remember when you did it that year, you got up on stage and you said that you don't make a lot of money from it or something along those lines. That it's like a pain in the ass, right, to organize. So what's the goal behind that for you?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, it's not like it doesn't make money. It makes 6 figures. So it's not like it's something that's a complete waste of time, but a majority of that I donate anyways. It's the way for me to do something that's completely undriven by money, which is like the only thing that I do that's completely undriven by money, except hang out with my family and give back to the Chiang Mai at the same time. So that's a secondary goal with it. The first goal is our corner of the industry needs a place like the Chiangmai SEO conference. Like there's no conferences that are aimed at people who don't care about like this whole black hat versus white hat. They don't care about, what just respouting back what Google's telling them to say about their SEO tactics and stuff like that. The speakers are people that are in the trenches, the power affiliates are the people that are making the most money on the planet, hard niches and stuff like that. And so there's just really no other place for us. And I think that combined with the fact that if there's a conference in Thailand, you just don't get employees going. You get the owners going. Mm-hmm. You get the power affiliates, the portfolio owners, the web agency owners, and stuff like that. As no one sends their intern to Thailand to go to a conference. It's a workation. I'm going. So like you said, the room you get in is like everyone's high level, and you end up with all the right conversations, et cetera.
Yeah, and you've already sold out, haven't you? You sold out extremely quickly.
Yeah. So it's sold out every year, but that's like, other than like the conference itself and making sure it goes smooth, that's the second most stressful thing. Imagine like you're having the biggest birthday party of your life. It's like your 30th is coming up. You've told everyone I need you to be there. And like, that feeling when you're just like, what if no one comes? Like I have it every freaking year. So we sold out in 25 hours, and I was like, oh man. First off, I was kind of shocked. Like I thought we'd spell it faster, but I had no idea it was 25 hours. Like the 2019, I think it was like 25 days or something like that. But this was nuts.
Yeah, congrats, man. Well, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for this year. I think it's gonna be really good.
Did you get a ticket?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I got the email of like, hey, you bought a ticket in 2019. You have like, I think it was like 24 hours to buy a ticket. I'm not sure. I don't even know if people know this, but maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. But
no, you're good.
but yeah. So yeah, I'm super pumped. Anyway, last thing I want to talk about is a bit of AI, right? It's so trendy. I feel like we have to talk about it. Going back to that video, and I think we spoke about it as well before, the complete AI content generated website. How is that going? Is that the same case study that we spoke about before, that it's already at 20K? Yeah. Also, so when you say, sorry, go ahead.
It's doubled traffic since the case study 3 months ago, and it's doubled earnings. Well, it's gone from 8,000 a month to 20K per month. So it's like, the only thing I've changed is I've gone all in on Surfer AI. So I stopped using this. It's kind of like a semi-manual, semi-automated process with Jasper, and then human editing and SEO optimizing later. And now I'm just using Surfer AI, which is taking care of all the SEO optimization, just doing a little polishing at the end. Of course, you got to add in your internal links and external links and stuff like that. But we were able to scale from producing 5 pieces of content per month to 10 pieces of content. And so that's why it's like kicked up. Like this curve is exponential right now.
Man, that's crazy. And so when you say there's no backlinks, what does that mean? Are there actually, like, you haven't done any link building for it? None.
Yeah. So for this site, there's some caveats.
Okay.
The site was built off an age domain, so it had backlinks already.
Okay.
Right? But I hadn't built any up until the point of the case study, other than your normal social fortress links and citations.
Got it.
Now it's different. Now that the case study's out of the way and I just want to make money with it, we're going crazy with backlinking, and we're hitting with the kitchen sink.
All right. So now it's go time. Got it.
Yeah, it's go time.
Outstanding. And your thoughts on the future of SEO, the role of AI. What are you thinking?
Yeah, like right now, I feel like people like you and I, and the viewers of your channel, the people in the know, there's going to be a renaissance time for a while the whole world hasn't adopted, and it's just kind of us like cutting edge people that are taking advantage of AI, integrating into our content process, but also the other SEO processes it's really good at. It's really good at website audits. It's really good at topical map generation, stuff like that. So like we're going to really enjoy this lack of competition we have for a while, but eventually the industry, like the layman industry, is going to catch up. And everyone's going to have user-friendly tools that are using AI. And I'm contributing to this as well. Like with Surfer AI already penetrates like in markets outside the SEO space. It penetrates writer markets, penetrates tons of markets. There's a bajillion users. And so when we come out with Surfer AI, I'm creating more competition for myself. But it's something that's going to inevitably happen anyway. So like it's, might as well be a part of it. Now, if everyone has access to just press buttons and get out perfectly optimized content that you can upload straight to your website, like what's going to be the differentiating factor on who wins? And I think that's going to boil down to three things. First, you have topical authority, right? Everyone knows how to write by pressing these AI buttons, but do they know what to write? So being able to diagnose and figure out everything that you need to write in your category in order to do well. Second would be link building. Link building has always been the deciding factor in Google's minds, and it's going to become even more important. If every website is like blanketed in a niche properly, like they're going to look at the backlinks to see how to decide who wins. And then the third, I think Google is going to have to actually and finally implement EAT in content when they're parsing their content and stuff like that, right? Like we talked about right now, it's all based on backlinks, but they're going to have to figure this out to some extent. And I think they're making efforts in this direction. If you click on the three dots next to the search result, you can see the about this author thing that's new. And so maybe they're starting to collect data on authors and brands and stuff like that. And I think that's going to become more of a case. But there's some interesting things like you can do with AI, man. Like, I don't want to spill the beans on like some of these future things that we're working on at Surfer, but like, why, let's put it like this. I could feed an AI everything I've ever written. I can feed an AI my LinkedIn profile. I can feed an AI my about page, and then I can have it write in my voice and anecdote stories and case studies and things that I've done. And it would do a better job at this than I would because it can remember everything that I've done. I can only remember what I've done in the last 48 hours, right? So I think like EAT, it can handle that too. It's just like, are the tools going to outpace what Google's looking for? And I guarantee they will.
Right. Yeah. It really is interesting when you realize how deep we are. Like we're definitely in this crazy bubble of AI, ChatGPT, all this stuff happening. But you ask anybody outside of that bubble, most people barely heard of ChatGPT, and they're using it for like, give me a recipe to bake brownies, right? It's like super basic stuff. And yeah, we're definitely in a bubble. I do want to ask last question here. Are you scared of Bard rolling in, getting rid of those search results, having more of like a chat-like feature on Google?
Man, I mean, the way it's going already, it doesn't seem like this is going to be anywhere remote to happening in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
They came out of the gates really hard. They made some blunders, showcasing Bard, and it was making factual errors on their first demo of it. I think there's also the fact that they're not really quite sure how to monetize it. Google loves their sweet monetization engine with AdWords and their display ad network. If you don't have websites and search results, you don't have that stuff, right? Yeah. So I think there'll be slow resistance. And I think at the end of the day, there will always be tons of search queries that you won't want an AI to answer, especially like product review type stuff. So I mean, the game that I'm in, which is affiliate marketing, I'm very comfortable. We're building new websites all the time. We're building with AI because we can build them 10 times faster. If that starts to decline in 5 years and maybe we take a 20% haircut in traffic, they gave me free reign to 10x my content output. I'll take that trade any day of the week.
Interesting. Also, sorry, last question, but have you diminished the amount of actual content writers that you have because of AI and you're like now using them as editors?
Yeah. I haven't gone full AI on all my projects. So there's some projects of mine that, like in the legal space, right? My JV partner in the space like refuses to use AI, and he wants his paralegals to sign off on all the content we produce. But almost everything else, like there's no writers anymore. There's hardly even editors. They're mainly, we just call them tool operators. And so like, yeah, even stuff like fact checking, like AI has hallucinations, right? It makes mistakes. It'll just make up stuff and really confident about its answers. But the way Surfer AI is working is we read the top three, the top five, the top 10 competitors in a niche. We extract out what are all the facts that they said about the GANs in the search query. And then we feed that to the AI. We don't give the AI any room to make any factual errors. So there's, all these like thoughts about how AI won't solve what we need. It's not convincing. It doesn't write as intriguing as a human. Bullshit. You're just not using it right. It can do way better than your average writer.
Brilliant. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time for answering all these questions. And
it's been fun.
And yeah, where can people find you?
YouTube is where I'm putting out content the most. I'm a little active on Twitter, a little active on Facebook, but yeah, come check out YouTube and hang out.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thanks, Matt.
Take care, bro.